I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We're welcoming Nixie-North. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, I'm Nixie-North. I'm a VTuber from the frozen wasteland that is Northern Ontario, Canada. Great to be here today.
Yeah, I say when we think we're cold here in the middle of Illinois, we think of you folks.
Yeah.
we,
Well, to put things in perspective, it's just about minus 30 Celsius out here right now. So
yes.
and then we got the wind howling, so it feels closer to 40, eh?
Oh
So,
my gosh. Yeah, that's not
yeah,
good. And we
not
were
fun at all.
well, we had a little situation here this last week where we had 65 degrees Fahrenheit at midnight, and it was getting warmer, and then it dropped. We had severe thunderstorms move through, and the temperature dropped 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's the worst when it goes from the rain there to the cold, and then it all freezes. I imagine you guys had a lot of freezing.
Yeah, we did, but I mean it kind of soaked the storms went through quickly, thankfully, but they also brought 50-mile-an-hour winds
Oh,
and random ones. If we have calm weather, calm conditions, then suddenly, whoosh, just out of nowhere, this straight line 55-mile-an-hour wind picks up every trash can in the county and sends it our way.
trash day too, eh?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we get all sorts of free trash bins on those days. So how did you get started with the VTubing thing?
Well, so back in February, I was let go of my position at a metal fabrication company. And so, I was kind of looking for something to do. I saw a couple of VTubers before, big names like Insky or Insky, however you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
She's the lady with the pink hair, ADHD, talks a lot. But anyway, so I saw big names like that, and I'm like, I could do that. I could go, find a budget model, and I like to talk and I like to game, and I'm like, I'll put two and two together. At the very least, it gives me something to do. If I'm good at it, make a bit of cash while I'm waiting for the next job to come in, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing is enjoying it yourself while you're doing it.
Yeah,
Was it
exactly.
something? Yeah. Did you take to it pretty quickly?
Yeah, actually, so it wasn't like the gaming and the talking that I found difficult. Like I can talk, I can talk, believe me. And the gaming, I was going to do that anyway, right? So it was all like, well, if I'm going to game, I might as well, share some of this enjoyment with people. And I think, I definitely enjoyed it in the beginning, and then, when I started realizing all the extra stuff that comes with it, it was all like, oh man, like I gotta be like a video editor too now. I gotta like do all this other stuff, and so I hopped on the Twitter there, and it was pretty. I mean, like I used to do social media marketing,
right?
For a local theater company here, like a playhouse, like a live theater, and so I was pretty familiar with how all social media worked. 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's a little different now.
Right. So everything I knew was all like, no, don't do that anymore. So I was throwing out hashtags, left and right. I'm like, well, that's how I used to do this. That worked back then. And then I had people saying, those make you look really old. And the algorithms don't like them anymore. And I went, oh, okay. So it's been kind of a lot of like, learning as I go, teaching myself how to, do certain things. I'm still not the greatest at video editing. I'm trying to get there. But for the most part, like for the actual streaming part, like I definitely do enjoy it, and I definitely, definitely have fun with it.
Well, the video editing has changed. Heck, when I was in, we took a course in college, but that was back in 1985.
Oh my God!
So we're literally talking 40 years ago when I was doing this, and we didn't have the computer stuff and digital stuff. It was all 1.5-inch tape that we were using, which is so ancient. I don't even think anybody has it anymore. And it was a big different story. I mean, And now we went from that into radio, so I didn't have to deal with audio or video stuff after that for the most part. And now I basically just use the thumbnails. Um, so it's a little easier for me. But for you, did you have to kind of start from scratch as far as video editing was
Oh
concerned?
yeah,
Yeah.
100% was from scratch. Like it was basically like, like because I was talking with people who had been doing this for some time. They're like, hey, you gotta like, make shorts and you gotta get on the TikTok and and all that. I'm like, okay, like I'll give it a shot. And then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? Um, so yeah, it was definitely like watching a lot of YouTube tutorials on how to edit the videos off of Twitch, how to you know save everything properly so YouTube and TikTok will like it, because there's certain requirements that they have that
Oh yeah.
sometimes they don't like each other's requirements, right? So what might
No.
work for one, the other side might go, no, I don't like that. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was definitely like a lot of watching YouTube videos, talking with people who've been doing it, and I still really don't have a good grasp on it. I mean, I'm hoping to get better. That's my 2026 goal, is to get better at making shorts and other content like that.
Well, you do what works until somebody shows you a better way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much how you end up. Something that takes you 5 minutes may take somebody else 30 seconds, and then you can be mad about it a little later, and that sort of situation. But as long as you're getting it up there and going and it's getting some views is the big thing. Now,
Yeah.
when you started up and you started getting people coming into your chats and you started getting some people coming back for you, how did that hit you?
Honestly, like it was kind of surreal. It was like, because like I didn't start this to become, the next big internet sensation or anything like that. It was just, like I said, it was just a way for, me to, bring what I love and enjoy to other people, right? Because like I said, I was going to game anyway, regardless of, doing this or not. I'm going to game, right?
Right.
And so when people started coming back and into it, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome, right? And then it's still really surreal that I have a little community going, and it's still really surreal when they come in and they ask me how I'm doing and all that. I'm like, holy shit, like this is this is real. Like this is me being successful, right? And I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like whether it's 2 views or maybe sometimes I've gotten lucky and I've had 5.
Wow.
It's still really surreal, and I'm just taking it in stride.
And when you realize where they're coming from, I mean, they're all over the world. That they could.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you're up in the northern north, just north of north, and and
pretty much.
you got people who could be watching and interacting with you live, literally standing upside down from you on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. So I actually have two people in my little community here that I've built who are from Australia. So I always joke with them about how they're time travelers, eh? Because
Oh.
because like they'll post, "Hey, happy Friday," and I'm like, "It's still Thursday."
Oh.
So but one of the people that I had recurring, he was from South Africa, and that was
Mhm.
he was one of the early ones. And when he told me he was from South Africa, I'm like, holy shit! Like, somebody from South Africa wants to watch, this content creator from middle of nowhere, Northern Ontario, and
It
it was wild.
it really is something when you realize that because of this medium, the world has gotten smaller and your personal world has gotten bigger because of the more people you can meet.
Yeah,
And you can just get out there and express yourself and present yourself how you want to. You get to do your own prologue to your story. Um,
exactly.
yeah. And how did that attract you when you first started VTubing?
What do you mean?
As
Like,
as far as you, the your avatar and such.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it actually started off with a request to my sister. My sister, she's a very good artist, very like physical medium, right? So, paint, acrylics, coloring pencils, all that. She's really great at all that.
Mhm.
And so, trying to keep things on the cheap, I said, hey, listen, could you design me a character? And, I kind of told her, kind of more or less what I was looking for. She's like, yeah, we can do that. She teased me relentlessly about it because, I mean, that's what a sister's for, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But once that was complete, I consider that to be the alpha to my avatar, right?
Yeah.
And so then I took that to this digital artist, who I found over on VGen, which is a great site, by the way. I really like how they run things over there. And
Mhm.
we worked together on price, and I said, okay, like this is kind of like what I'm looking for, and they went, yeah, we can do that. And they're actually from the Philippines, so it's again, like it's wild to realize like how connected everybody is, and how I could, like, I'm talking to people all over.
Oh, it's amazing to me, and I always wanted to be when I was younger an amateur radio operator or ham radio operator as they call it, and
Right.
I never could learn the Morse code enough to get a license. I got a regular radio license, but that doesn't mean the same thing. Um,
No.
and now I can talk to people all over the world just by picking up the microphone
Yeah.
and turning on the program, and it's not quite the same as bouncing a radio wave, but it gets the job done for sure.
Exactly.
And
And to add to that, so the inspiration for the model just came from, like, stuff I enjoyed, watching, right? Like the kind of aesthetic that I like, right? Because everything, like, everything I do is because I like it, or I enjoy it, right?
mm,
Like, like I'm not, gonna like do something if I don't enjoy it, right? So if I'm sitting in front of something for an hour, and I hate how it looks, you know what I mean? I'm not, so that was the whole thing, right? Everything about the avatar was something that I personally went, I like that, do that, right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
even with the games I decide to play, it's like, I'm not gonna, like, because I don't have unlimited funds or any funds really. It's basically like, okay, like, what games do I want to play today? And for some people, that can be a bit off-putting, right? Because it's like, oh well, they're not playing the same game all the time, and it's like, well, I don't want to play the same game all the time, right?
Right, right.
So it's like, it's what I enjoy and what I want to do, and I'm really happy that people enjoy that with me.
Some people will say that will go to that and say, well, but you're not really trying to expand your audience. Well, I mean, you're not shooting a shotgun at your audience is what you're doing, but but the audience that are coming back are the people who are really doing it for you and your personality and going along
Exactly,
with it.
and that's the thing. It's not so much about, I find it's not so much about what games you play. It's about how you are and how you interact with people, right? Because, I
Oh yeah.
mean, like I was, jumped on the bandwagon there with Marvel Rivals, right?
Hmm.
And everybody's playing that, right? Like, and
Oh yeah.
I'm like, well, this is gonna, people are gonna see this, and but it's quite the opposite, really, when you look into it, because everybody is doing it. There's so many people that they can choose rather than you, right? Whereas when like I was doing, I was playing, like, what was it now? Oh, this, it's a niche game. It's a Warhammer 40K game. It's called Rogue Trader,
Okay.
and there's like one or two people that are doing it, right? So I played it for a stream, and I had a couple of people are like, oh man, this is cool, like this, like I love Warhammer, like, how come I never heard of this game? And I'm like, well, it's a pretty niche game, right? it's
Yeah.
it's basically as close to you, it's as close to what the tabletop version is as you can get, really. It's a really niche game, right? And
Right.
it's something I enjoyed, and so as far as growing my audience goes, I mean, like I said, like, if I can be entertaining, and I can keep people engaged and keep them coming back, and that's fine with me.
Yeah. I look back at the old radio DJs in the same way, where when we were spinning the tunes on the radio, um, you could hear the same song on any different station in the market usually. top 40 was top 40. You heard the same song, but the people came back to the station with the announcer that had the personality that they like. It's like you can find anybody playing Minecraft on Twitch or whatever any
Yeah,
time of day, 1,000 people probably playing it, but you come back to the person you enjoy watching playing, and you kind of said that earlier. Is that
yeah.
it's that connection, and when you're playing a game that you enjoy, and other people come in, and they also enjoy that game, you automatically have a connection there.
Exactly, exactly. It's all about those connections. And the other thing too is it's a heck of a lot easier to be engaging and to be excited and to have fun with a game that you genuinely enjoy than it is trying to, play a game that might be popular, but you're like, oh man, I really hate this stuff. Like personally for me, like I don't enjoy Minecraft.
Yeah,
Right? I know, right? It's crazy, right? Like me,
uh,
like who doesn't like Minecraft? Well, I don't.
yeah,
And so, if I was to play Minecraft, I'd be bored, and I wouldn't have those, genuine interactions of like, oh my god, this is so much fun, or
right.
like I was playing Dispatch there, and I almost died laughing from playing Dispatch. It was so much fun, right? Like, um, you know what I mean? It's just like, but like I said, if I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't have had those connections.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are people on this medium right now who could get a good sized audience if they were playing Minesweeper. But
Exactly,
that's
right?
just the way they are.
It's not
And
about the games; it's about the people.
right, right. I mean, there are plenty of people who play Minesweeper, I imagine still, but it's something that you wouldn't think about. But they're coming back for the interaction, and they have some way to flavor the gameplay sometimes that that adds to the whole experience. And there's just some people that do
Yeah,
that. But there are other. It's always your mileage may vary too. It's the way you do something is different than somebody else does it, but it may be better for this group of people than another group of people.
yeah, exactly. And you definitely notice that with different games and stuff. You attract different people, and then the people that are interested in the game, they'll come out when you stream that game. But the real people that are interested in you, they don't really care what you're playing. I had a stream one time where it was like I think I had like 5 or 6 people, which is like a lot for me, right?
Hmm.
And I'm playing Power World, and I was fairly into it. I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but it was pretty fun, and
Hmm.
and then the next day I said okay, like I was doing a Baldur's Gate playthrough, so I said okay, let's go back to Baldur's Gate, and I think only one person from that grouping of 5 came back. So, that kind of gives you an example of like there are people who, they enjoy the gameplay, but like I think the real people who enjoy you will come back regardless of what you play.
Exactly, exactly. And here's another thing too, and that I hope that streamers realize is that just because they didn't come back immediately doesn't mean they're not coming back at all.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the other thing too is people have their own responsibilities and their own lives, and I mean
yeah,
as much as we'd like to think that everyone's on the same schedule as we talked about earlier, like with people being in different areas of the world, sometimes your timeline doesn't sync up with how they're doing it, and that's also I think another important piece that I am learning is the fact that streaming at different times
mhm.
plays as much of an impact as what you're streaming and how you're streaming it, right?
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. Targeting your audience is
exactly, and
it's a huge thing in marketing, radio marketing. But the marketing for radio is different right now than it would be for VTubers because when we did it in radio, we had a finite group of people we were trying to split up in a market. Right now, you guys don't have any finite group of people that you're that you're divvying up because there's more people showing up every day, and there's so many more people that don't even know it exists yet.
exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Just wait until people my age get a hold of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's it's definitely something that, in the past couple of years has really taken off, and I think, I think it'll keep growing, and like eventually it'll get to the point where, you know, it'll be okay. Like, this is how many people are, watching it on any given day, and that's kind of, a lot of people give me a grief over it, but I actually pay for the Twitter Plus, or
Mm,
whatever you call it,
yeah,
X Plus or whatever,
yeah,
and I say to them, well, you can't see your metrics if you don't pay for it, which
yeah,
pisses me off,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's like, how are you supposed to know what people are interacting with, and what people are noticing if you can't see those metrics,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
That's where they
And
get you.
that's, yeah, and that's what I like about Twitch and YouTube is that they don't hide those metrics behind, a paywall. Like, you can go, okay, how many people watch that clip? How many people watch that stream at any given time? And you can kind of cater it better. Whereas, like, on Twitter, like, unless you're paying for it, there's no real way to cater what you're doing. And I mean, so it becomes tricky. And like I said, people are like, oh, you're supporting Elon Musk, and I'm like, no, I'm not supporting him. I just want the metrics.
Yeah, I haven't given him a dime yet.
Yeah, I just want the metrics. That's all it's
Yeah,
about. Is
yeah.
just seeing where I can grow. Like, what posts are, gaining traction, what posts aren't gaining traction. And I mean, I definitely kind of went through a few phases, trying to figure out exactly what kind of content I want to post. And I mean, like I don't think I could have done that as quickly if it wasn't the access to the metrics.
Yeah, yeah, and it's that first reaction that you get, and if you're able to react to the reaction correctly, then that sets up that kind of organic growth, where uh, you're drawing the right people who will stay, who are of a better chance of staying on, um, and that's where, and sometimes the growth just doesn't take some people very long. Sometimes it takes a long time. Um,
Yeah,
and that's
and that's something else too. I think that I didn't. I mean, I knew it was going to be a bit of a slog at first.
mhm.
I didn't realize it would be this much of a slog. Like I said, I totally went into this thinking, oh, all I got to do is play video games and talk enough, and people are going to watch, and the money's going to come in, right? Oh my God, how wrong I was. Um, it was just, yeah, like, so, like, I'm still chasing that affiliate banner there on Twitch,
Mhm.
which I'm hoping to get, but we'll see it. And like it's just, you see other people, you see people that are following you, and you're like, well, they got affiliate like within a few months. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? And it's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just what they may be doing is more successful for them, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to chase, right? I want to, like, at the end of the day, like, if people come out to my streams and have a good time, that's all that matters, right? Like like
Mhm.
like if I have to go out there and chase viewers with, over the top antics, over the top, stuff, or play, the same, like the same game all the time, like I would just I would probably pack it in, right? Because it's not what I would enjoy, right? I enjoy me having these genuine connections with people, and I really do enjoy, like, when somebody says to me, "Hey, like, I saw your stream there. It was really fun." I'm like, awesome, right? Because it's like, that's what I want more than anything, right?
Yeah.
It's just to make, people's lives a little bit more fun for a bit.
Yeah, and it is a nice ego boost. I mean, it's a wind beneath the wings moment type of thing. It makes you want to do it some more in front of people.
Exactly, but I think it's more than just that too. I think it's definitely like, it's not so much like, you know I'm excited that people are telling me that I'm doing a good job. It's more of like a validation,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And I mean, I think more than anything, I think that's been the hardest thing for me to overcome, is staying with it when you know nobody's watching, right? And I think a lot of people also have this problem. It's just, like you don't know when they're going to show up, right? Like when the viewers are going to come in. So
Right.
if you're not, interacting, even like the way I think about it is like it's like if I'm doing like a podcast or something, right? And I'm
Mhm.
just talking, and I mean, like I said, I can talk, so
It's the Nixie-North Talking Podcast.
pretty much. I actually dabbled in podcasts early on, but they just weren't catching on, and I'm like, okay, like we're gonna shelve that. Maybe I'll bring them back in the new year. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. See, there's all sorts of different reasons people are on for podcasts. Mine is I just enjoy talking to people, and I missed it after
Yeah.
being in radio for 35 years and not doing it anymore. I
Oh yeah.
and you're not going to find anybody more different and diverse than VTubers, for crying out loud.
No, for sure. We're a pretty unique bunch, and I think it takes I think it takes a unique mindset to be a VTuber.
Hmm.
Like anybody can go out there, with their laptop web camera and a headset or whatever,
Right.
and stream, live, and but I think with VTubing specifically, it takes that creative mindset that you know, um, making something that's unique, right, and that's different than everything else, and I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot more people, getting into it is because people are realizing, I can be creative at something
Hmm.
and do this. And I know a lot of people out there that do the VTubing. They like to present their models as like characters and whatnot.
Right.
But for myself specifically, it's more of just an extension of my personality, right?
Mm.
It's the me that's the most free and the most you know unhinged, right? Like it's
Right.
it's 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 not like I'm going, I'm not trying to play something I'm not, right? Because
Right.
at the end of the day, like I value authenticity more than anything.
Hmm.
So if I can be free in myself, I mean that in itself really is, because like, all the time we're pretty guarded on how we interact with people, even if it's people we're comfortable with, but you always kind of hold something back, right?
Right.
So I think the VTubing allows a lot of us to just be our true selves without that worry of, oh my god, people are gonna know who I am, people are gonna say stuff, people are gonna judge me, and so
Yeah. And even though you have an avatar out there, and a lot of people are getting a chance to be more themselves than they normally are, which is kind of what you were saying. A
yeah.
couple extra barriers are down. You're not so much worried about that automatic face-to-face feedback, and that you could, like when I go to family functions and tell a bad joke, that type of feedback.
Exactly.
If no one's looking at me, I can do whatever I want for the most part. And
Yeah, and that's pretty well how it feels, sometimes. And I mean, um, like I think we know our audience, and I mean we know kind of, because I mean there's always stuff you obviously can't, I mean, say or do, right? I mean there's
well,
there's
yeah,
there's definitely lines and stuff, and I mean I think you're starting to see people go, okay, this is where my line is, this is where this person's line is, and I think the more people do it, the more it's getting more into these groups where you have different flavors of what you want, right?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And people who are more 18 plus what they do, people that are
Exactly.
people that are not just 18 plus, but like me,
Yeah.
18 plus 18 plus 18 plus.
Yeah.
and
So
and
yeah, so I consider myself too, like I want to mention that you mentioned 18 plus content, and I mean it's not just like the lewd or the hypersexual stuff.
right.
Like for me, I brand myself as 18 plus because of the fact that sometimes I do get into more mature topics and heavier topics. One thing I don't shy away from is talking about my my mental health disorders and stuff, because you know what, one thing I want to do is I want people like me to know that, you know, there's people out there, right, that are going through this kind of stuff, and it's okay to ask for help. And so I find, like, you know, if people aren't of a certain, you know, maturity level, you know, it can be tricky and challenging to talk about those mature topics, right?
Oh,
And that, and I
absolutely.
swear like a sailor too. So
And I swear
oh
like
yeah, I swear.
I'm even worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes I swear like a golfer.
Oh my God.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
But the really you're hitting the nail right on the head with this. And the what one person thinks is adult content, the other person may not. But that is just because of people's different personalities. We're going to continue to. I think we're going to continue to see more and more people who are hobbyists doing this than people who are trying to make a living out of it.
Yeah.
But they're all going to be on the same ball diamond, which is going to make things interesting. You're going to have sometimes you'll have um, someone who's a fairly well known streamer, and they're collaborating with someone who is on once a month. Um,
Yeah.
and it's the communication level is going to be huge with this sort of thing. Have you been able to to network with other VTubers and do some collaborations while you've been on?
So I've done a bit of networking here and there on Twitter. I'm gonna keep calling it Twitter. I mean, that's what I know it as. I'm not
Yeah,
calling it X. I
yeah,
mean, if you guys want to call it X, I mean, you can call it X, but I'm calling it Twitter.
yeah.
You know, elder millennial. So I was there when it started.
Yeah.
But you know, I've done a lot of networking on there, and I've done a lot of you know, just, you know, chats and stuff. I haven't really done any sort of collaborations. I want to, though.
Mhm.
But you know, again, it goes back to the fact that, you know, we all are pretty well in different areas of the world. So it's like, you know, when I'm up, you know, somebody might be going to bed, or
Mhm.
vice versa, right? So
Yeah.
it's real tricky to plan. I might have some stuff coming out in 2026,
Ooh.
but we're still working out everything, so I don't want to say I do, just in
Mhm.
case.
Yeah.
But
Stay
you know,
tuned.
yeah, exactly. So like that's the big. I think, you know, it's the coolest thing, but it's also the biggest hurdle when you're trying to, you know, network with other people and collab. It's like, okay, like you're going to bed at midnight my time,
Mhm.
but you know, like, you know what I mean. So it's really hard to do, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like, um, you know, so
Yeah. It's a good thing time zones don't go north south as far as east west, because then you'd really be in a you you'd
oh
end up
my God,
you'd be like people from northern Norway. Pretty
you
much
go exactly. But
Icelandic folks.
oh my God, I mean, it'd be. I don't know if there's any. I can't think of any. Buddy, that's actually why that's where my name comes from, actually. So Nixie, you know, that was just something I thought of. You know, there's a like a Germanic folk tale regarding them. They're sort of like water spirits and all
Mhm.
that, mischievous and whatnot.
Yep.
And then the north part just comes up because I'm so north, right? Like I often joke about it when I'm streaming. I'm like, you know, I'm probably the most northern person you'll ever meet on here. And I mean, so far that's been true. I mean, I have heard of, you know, some people out in Sweden that are
Yep.
doing this, but
Yep.
I haven't personally interacted with them. So as of right now, I'm the most northern person that I know.
Well, you see, one thing you'll be able to collaborate on is cold
Yeah,
this
exactly.
time of year. And here's something else too that people realize, and I found it over the last couple of years here interesting. Where right now in Australia it's summer, and
Yeah.
when I'm talking to somebody down there, they're like, "Oh, it's so hot," and I'm do a terrible Australian accent.
Oh,
It's so
they'd
hot
eat you
down here.
alive for that if they heard
Yeah, and I hope I'm forgiven for that. But they're talking about how it's, ridiculously, like, 45 Celsius or something, something
Yeah, exactly.
unlivable like that. And I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah,
It and but it's all coming together through this medium, which is pretty fabulous.
exactly, exactly.
You talked about a little about your issues with mental health over the years. Has this been kind of a therapy for you? And did it mean to be a therapy for you when you started?
Well, that's actually a pretty good question, because it actually has two parts. So the first part is, when I first started, like I said, like it was just, hey, like I'm gonna be playing video games, right? Like I'm laid off, right? Like, I'll play some video games for a bit, and like I'll meet some people and talk with people, and then it got into, talking about, like I would see other people, talking about their mental health, and so that's when I started. Okay, like there's so many people out there dealing with this sort of stuff that, I've been through it. I've lived through it. Like some of the worst, stuff anybody can go through, right? Like,
Right.
roughly about, 10 years ago, I was at my lowest, and I mean, I was right there, right? Like
Hmm.
I didn't want to exist anymore, right? Like I
Right.
was I was right there, and through therapy and all that, I kind of was able to get to where I am today, and so, talking about everything, it's just naturally to me, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
I find when I talk about it, people, listen, and not just, for them, but for me, like, for people that don't know really what therapy is, it's basically you're just talking about your, what's going on, and you're trying to come up with solutions to what's going on. So when I start talking about, how I had a bad day or a rough day, like as I'm doing that, I'm kind of going through the steps in my mind about, okay, like, that happened, but oh, this thing happened, that was a good thing. So it
Hmm.
kind of, gives me a place to kind of just not necessarily vent, but to kind of like just work through. And it was, pretty interesting, when I do talk about that, because there's an organization up in Canada here. You may have heard of them. They're fairly big, but it's called the Sick Not Weak Foundation.
I don't think I've heard of them before.
Okay, so it was started by a, TV Canadian sports personality by the name of Michael Landsberg.
Okay.
So he was on, our version of your ESPN, and he
Hmm.
would do these, interviews with sports athletes, and he was going through depression and all that, and he didn't really have anywhere to go. So he started this, organization, and so, I was typing out this tweet one time, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to tag them, in that, like whatever, right? Like, and they actually ended up liking my tweet, and they commented underneath it. I'm like, that is so cool that, like this big organization, recognizes that what I'm saying is helpful, because
Hmm.
it's like, nowhere do I say I'm a therapist, right? When I'm talking to people,
Right.
I'm just that guy that's been there, right? I'm that guy that's, been to the edge. I'm that guy that's come back from that edge, and so, I find a lot of times people, when they see that, they're like, oh man, like he gets it, right? Because I do
Hmm.
get it,
Yeah.
and but also too, the other part to that was, definitely meeting people who were like me, right? Because, there's a lot of people out there who, you know, don't necessarily understand about, ADHD and what that's like, and other mental health issues like depression and anxiety. So
Right.
it's quite refreshing to see, hey, like this person also understands this,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right?
One of
Like, and
one
yeah,
one of the big major things that a lot of people face with depression, and again, it's not one size fits all by any stretch of the imagination, but is the feeling of being on your own dealing with it. And
oh, 100%. That's
yeah.
the biggest. That's one of the biggest problems. And I
Mhm.
mean, the other problem that I'm getting really sick and tired of
Mhm.
is people, um, you know, that are in positions to help, who either don't help,
Mhm.
because they don't see an issue, or because they were, just straight up refuse to help, right?
Oh yeah.
And the other thing that really, and this really pisses me off, because of where I was at the time, but, you know, there's been a few, members of the VTubing community who have unfortunately, are no longer with us due to mental health reasons,
Right.
and that really makes me upset because it's like, that shouldn't be happening in 2025. That person should be able to go get the help they need without worrying about the stigma or anything associated with it. One of their friends should have spoke up and said, "Hey, like, are you doing okay?" You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, in my mind, like, like, I understand it because I was there, but in my mind, in 2025, there's no reason why we can't talk about stuff like that,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and stop people from doing that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And it
absolutely.
really,
Yeah.
like, it really makes me upset to hear about it, because it's like, because I almost did it. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
it's like, so I get it. I get why they feel like that. But at the end of the day, like, somebody somewhere has to say something, and we have to start really coming together. I think, as people, and not put each other down, and just try to lift each other up.
oh yeah, as much as possible, and show that again that the thing that you're not the only person going through these sorts of things. I'll tell
Yeah.
people at the drop of a hat, that one of the things that got me started doing this 2 years ago was the fact I was going through therapy myself as a 58-year-old guy not doing the job that he did for 35 years anymore.
Yeah.
And it's and other things,
Oh,
that
it's tough. Yeah.
you get into it. And this has been a big help for me, along with therapy and other things. But you know, age doesn't make a difference when you go into therapy.
Yeah.
Status doesn't make a difference when you go into therapy. Uh, yeah, and so many people are doing it without telling other people they're doing it. There's no reason to have that idea that it's a stigma to do
Exactly.
something
And
like this.
that's kind of why, the Sick Not Weak Foundation in Canada here, it's really important to me, because it really is truly a sickness. It's
Hmm.
not that you're weak minded. It's not that, you can't handle the stress of your day-to-day life. It's there's some chemical imbalance wrong in your brain,
Hmm.
right? You need to treat it.
Yeah.
And I think if we look at it like, somebody who has a broken arm or somebody who has the flu, I think that's a great way for people to really understand that it's not, you know, because of, you know, them not being strong enough. It's they truly are sick, and it's a mental illness, not a mental, you know, um,
Choice.
weakness, right?
Yeah, or a
So I mean,
choice. Yeah. It
exactly right. It's not a choice either. And I mean, like I often tell my therapist, like if I had the choice, like I would not have, ADHD. I wouldn't have the anxiety. But at the end of the day, like I do, and like my experiences are going to be shaped forever because of this, and it's not something that like you can treat it, you can medicate it, but it's always going to be there. And it's so oftentimes, I'll find myself, um, spiraling, right, when I'm not doing so well, and I have to kind of correct myself and go, okay, no, listen, like this is why this is happening.
hmm
Like this is what you have to do, and that honestly is one of the hardest things to do, is to correct yourself, like,
hmm
and realize what you're doing is harmful. And that was the hardest decision, to date, that I've made, was start therapy. It was basically like, I was working a job one time there, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get time off for this, because the sessions are in the daytime, right? Oh, I'll just say I'm going to the doctor's office or whatever, and
Right.
they're not going to question that, right? And that's kind of how I did it for a really long time. And then I remember one time at work there, um, I got a call from their office because they needed some sort of payment info, right?
Right.
And my boss said, "Oh, who's that?" And then I let it slip. It was my therapist. "Oh, I didn't know you were in therapy." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, why didn't you tell anybody?" I'm like, "Well, because I don't know how you guys are going to react." Because there are still some people who don't fully understand that it's not because the person's not strong enough. It truly is because there's something wrong.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it hurts, to think that there are still people that stigmatize it, that don't understand. And there's, plenty of research that shows that, like, this is something that is treatable, like, most of the time. There's treatment options, there's therapy, there's medication, there's whole bunch of list of therapeutic measures. There's, and it makes me upset because it's like, no, like if you're not understanding of it, that's fine. Ask somebody, but don't just assume, oh, this person, is going through a hard time because they can't perform their job, and so they're just bummed out because of that. It's not. It's more than just that.
Yeah, it's empathy again, and it's that word is not a particularly popular in the late 2025 into 2026. I hope that changes soon.
I do too,
but
I am really getting tired of people, not understanding that, just because something doesn't bother one person, that it doesn't bother another person, or the fact that, and people say this to me quite often, and I have to explain it to them. I go, well, I have ADHD. I need, X, Y, and Z to be able to do this task. And they're like, oh, well, my cousin or my brother has it, and he doesn't need all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, your cousin or your brother, they might not have the same sort of processing, issues that I have, right? Like everybody is different. And I think if, we can make more people more aware of that, I think it really truly could be the start of something great,
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great time talking with you, and very easy. But it's just such an easy conversationalist to talk to.
Well, thank you.
And folks, you got to check out what Nixie-North's got going on. We're going to have the links in the description for this interview, and I really do appreciate you taking some time from the Great White North to visit and talk with us, and we'll do it again. But we're going to have all those links for people in the description. And check out what Nixie-North's got going on. Thank you again so much for coming on. Absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.